Hello, welcome everyone. This is the second segment of reproductive health. In this segment, we will discuss about the medical termination of pregnancy, sexually transmitted diseases, and infertility. With the infertility, we will also discuss about the ART. What is the ART? Okay, so let us we go through that. That already known to you in the previous section. We discussed about the population explosion, birth control, and other things. So if you've not gone through by them, so you go to the previous video. Let us now continue. Medical termination of pregnancy. What is it actually? What is this? The MTP. This is the intentional or the voluntary termination of pregnancy. If a female is now be forced or induced to abort, then it is known as MTP. When data is now be estimated worldwide, likely be 45 to 50 million MTPs are performed in a year all over the world, which is likely be the one fifth of the total conceived pregnancies in a year. As you aware about that, MTP is the intentional or voluntary termination of pregnancy, but it is not the mean for the birth control. Simply it looking like that we can terminate the pregnancy, but we cannot use it for the birth control. So MTP, what are its important? You understand there is any significant value of this MTP or there is no value. So let us decide by your own. To avoid the unwanted pregnancies due to the casual intercourse or the failure of contraceptive uses, or we can say the rape or the such kind of cases, or even in the cases where the pregnancy is now be harmful for both or be the either be the mother or for the fetus. So on such condition, we allow the MTP, medical termination of pregnancy. Then what is the duration? When we can do that? The first trimester is the safest duration for the MTP. We can also go through with the second trimester, but the complexes for the females get increased. The cases are reported that in MTP get now be done likely with the 24th week or the 20th week of the pregnancy. But as you see that at the days or the number of weeks will increase, the complexes for the female also will increase. So first trimester being we can say the safe and second being the more risky with the increasing duration of days or time. Now then, what are the legal aspect? The legal aspect of legalization of this MTP, you're seeing that this is the ethical, religious, or the emotional issue of our society. So, due to these social issues, many countries they have not been legalized MTP. But in India, we legalized it on 1971 with strict restriction. Some clauses, sub clauses are there. They are to be checked that there should be no misuse of this MTP. And it is strictly said there it should not be used for the female feticide. It should be highly strictly mentioned there. If it is observed that the MTP done for the female feticide in a purposeful way, then the imprisonment and the suspension of license of that nursing home or doctor, the such kind of strict rules are there. So as MTP, if a female is doing the MTP, then what are the problems? The main problem is that the majority of MTP is done or performed illegally. The main problem. And MTP also promotes the misuse of amniocentesis. What is this amniocentesis actually? Amniocentesis is a test by which we are able to determine the gender as well as some other infection or other disorder which can be takes place in developing fetus. So in the early stage we can be identify and we can do the proper treatment for them. But what is going on actually? As a parent or the person get now we know that the developing child is female, then he forcefully gone for the female feticide. This is the misuse of this amniocentesis as well as MTP also. What is amniocentesis? As already I told, this is a test by which that we are able to identify or diagnose the some disorder. First you see that how it get now be performed. What is this amniocentesis? This is the test which get now be done with the help of amniotic fluid. What is this amniotic fluid? Amniotic fluid is the fluid which gets surrounds the developing embryo and protect it. You are seeing here the figure is there, the skin. This is the uterine wall and this is the amniotic cavity. The fluid is here, the fluid is here, this is the amniotic fluid. So for the amniocentesis, simply the pricking of a needle is here and with the needle that we take out this amniotic fluid from the amniotic cavity. With the help of this fluid, we are able to determine that some genetic testing. We are able to determine the sex of the developing baby and we can also be diagnosed some fetal infection. The test is now very purposeful and having a great significant value. In the early stage, it makes us that to identify the genetic testing and the fetal infection. But nowadays, a lot of misuse of the test is now be taking place, which results the female feticides. So this is the importance. So you can also think that what risk if maybe the female is gone for the amniocentesis, maybe any risk is there or not. So definitely some risk are there. Maybe the intensity is very low, less than 1%. Some risk factor they just predicting between 0.3 to 0.5. But even the risk are here. What are these risks actually? See the risk that leaking of amniotic fluid. As the test done for the collection of amniocentesis, the collection of amniotic fluid is there. So afterward it is found that sometime the leaking of amniotic fluid taken place. Some cases of miscarriage also being reported and the infection transmission is also reported. Some infection they can be transmitted to the embryo. Now in next that we will see that sexually transmitted disease. One more thing, if any part you are feeling that is left that and you want to know more, so you write in comment box. Okay, so I can do now with that accordingly. I will try to satisfy what you want to in the video. Now go through the sexually transmitted diseases, STDs. This is not the new term for any of you, I think. Everyone knowing that what are the STDs, sexually transmitted disease. What are the sexually transmitted diseases? The disease which get now be transmitted through the sexual intercourse are called sexually transmitted disease, STDs. They are also termed as venereal disease, also termed as reproductive tract infection. More related names are there. What are the main examples under the category? The main examples under the categories gonorrhea, syphilis, genital herpes, chlamydiasis, genital wart, trichomoniasis, hepatitis B, and HIV, which can be lead the These are the common example of STDs. Hepatitis B and HIV. HIV, human immunodeficiency virus. They can get now be transmitted by sharing of injection, surgical instrument. They can also transmit by the transfusion of blood, and they transmit from the infected mother to the fetus. And as known to you that hepatitis B, genital herpes and HIV, they are not completely curable. Other than all these three are curable if get detected in early stage or treated properly. Now, what are the symptoms of the STDs? So, the common symptom for STDs is there: itching, fluid discharges, slight pain, and swelling in the genital region. In the genitalia, genital region, if anyone is now feeling some itching effect, some fluid discharge, slight pain is there, some swelling or rashes are there, then these can be the symptom of sexually transmitted diseases. Absence or less significant symptoms in early stage of infection, and due to some social stigma that attached to STD and deter the infected person from going for timely detection and proper treatment. This lead to the complexions and such as lead the PID. If a person may be due to the sinus or some agitation, if having the any type of such symptoms, and due to the agitation or sinus, not preferring to go to the doctor or to consult a qualified person, then the complexes will increase, which will lead PID, pelvic inflammatory diseases. What this PID is, I will tell you more. This can also lead the abortion, stillbirth, ectopic pregnancies, infertility, and even can also lead the cancer and reproductive tract. So you cannot just think like the STD is only the simple thing. If they cannot be treated properly, then they can harm a lot of your body. And mainly the person of the age group 15 to 24 are highly vulnerable. So the person, those who are belonging to these 15 to 24 age group, they have to be more cautious. They have to be more curable, more careful regarding all these factors. If having the such any of factors, then undoubtedly they have to be consult a qualified doctor without any agitation. You have to be think like that. It is a disorder like with the other disorders. Now then, what is the PID? Pelvic inflammatory diseases. Pelvic inflammatory diseases. An infection of one of more of upper reproductive organ, including the uterus, fallopian tubes, and ovaries. If the infection get now we start to the genitalia and get reaches to the other reproductive organs, then it is known as pelvic inflammatory diseases. It can be reaches up till ovary, fallopian tube, uterus, or the such organs. What is the stillbirth? Stillbirth is the delivery after 20th week of pregnancy of a baby who has died. This is the stillbirth. Loss of a baby before 20th week of pregnancy is called miscarriage. You can understand there's a big difference. If before the loss of baby, it means before the 20th week, the loss of baby is known as miscarriage, and delivery of a dead died child after 20th week, it is known as stillbirth. Now then, ectopic pregnancies. What is ectopic pregnancy? It is the condition when a fertilized egg implants and grows outside the main cavity of uterus. As you knowing that after the fertilization, the implantation takes place in uterus. But instead of uterus, if implantation taken place outside the uterus, maybe in the tube or any other part of the female reproductive tract, then it is known as ectopic pregnancies. And this can damage the nearby organ and cause the life-threatening loss of blood. This is a very harmful condition. So all these terms are now important to you. You have to be understand well. If still any doubt remain, you can also write in comment box. I will make some more material for you. Now that prevention. As you got the information, what are the symptoms, what are the vulnerable age group, and what are the effects on the body, and what are some more related terms and the related complexes which can be developed with the STDs. Now we are in the segment to discuss about the prevention, how we can prevent ourselves from the STDs. So that first, avoid sex with unknown partner or multiple partners. We should not go for the sex for a with an unknown partner or the multiple partners sex habit. Strictly it should be avoided because we are not knowing the health history of the person, and sometimes the person is also hiding the facts. Now second, always use a condom during the coitus. Condom is good. That in birth control, I already told you that it is not only meant for birth control purpose, it is also meant to be for some other purpose, and here you are seeing it is also being used for the stopping or preventing the sexually transmitted diseases, because it is acting like a barrier which avoid the direct contact between the male and female. In case of doubt, go to a qualified doctor. Maybe still you are taking all these precautions, but maybe if you're getting any doubt or feeling any some symptoms, which I told in the that earlier slides. So if you're getting any such kind of symptom, so you always go to a qualified doctor for the early detection. And if anything get detected, meaning not meant that the something you getting and gone to doctor though it should be the STD. No, maybe STD or not. If maybe it is the STD, then you get complete treatment. Not like with that. Oh no, don't leave the treatment in between. Okay, so if you're getting any doubt or any symptomatic features, then always go to a qualified doctor for the detection and go through the proper diagnosis and treatment of particular disease and complete your course. Don't leave in between that. Now we are coming to next segment, infertility. What is the infertility actually? This is the inability of male or female to produce a child. This inability is known as infertility. What are the reason behind it? For many of be that physical or congenital, or we can say some drug, immunological or psychological. due to any of this reason. Some physical factors are there, physiological factors are there, some diseases be the behind this cause, and maybe the drug which now be taken for the treatment of any disorder or disease, we also get now we develop the infertility. So for the helping the such kind of cases, infertility clinics are developed. They are the specialized healthcare units which help and diagnose and correct giving the corrective treatment of these disorders. Infertility also there are many treatments are there. In the next slide we will go through the what are the things that the treatment come under these categories. Simply we are representing with them the AR, assisted reproductive technologies. What are these ART? As you are seeing there, there are five, actually four more main segments are there, but fifth is also be included with them. As you're seeing here that one is the, you can start from here that in vitro fertilization, gamete intrafallopian transfer, intracytoplasmic sperm injection, and the artificial insemination. So many things are among them that one by one we will go through them and we will discuss that. Now first, in vitro fertilization. What is this in vitro fertilization? IVF. It is also be termed as TTB, test tube baby. In this method, ova from the female or donor or wife and sperm from the husband donor are now be collected and are induced to form zygote under the simulated condition in the laboratory. As the name is here, you see that in vitro. In vitro means outside the body, or we can say in glass, in laboratory. So here we are doing the fertilization in lab, in some same artificial conditions. So that's why it is termed in vitro fertilization. Then this in vitro fertilization get followed by few other things. The one is here embryo transfer. If the egg get fertilized, then embryo can be transferred. This is known as eat your embryo transfer. One more thing, zygote intrafallopian transfer. We can also transfer the zygote to the fallopian tube. And we can also do IUT, intrauterine transfer. We can also transfer it to the uterus. As you're seeing here, this is a simple way of IVF. Okay, as you're seeing here that we taken out this is the one, this is the ovary. So first we taken out the female gamete and then we collected here. This is the male gamete and this is here, and in the petri dish that we did fertilize. This is the in vitro fertilization, and then again we can introduce into the female tract, either in the uterus or we can say here in the fallopian tube. It depends to the different condition. It get now be decided by the doctor. Now then, zygote intrafallopian transfer. What is GIFT? ZIFT. The terms now you are listening, and some before you listen, the very important for the purpose of CBSE board examination. So you be very attentive. If any doubt get remain still that you write and ask me or tell me that, then I will make some more things for you. Okay. Zygote intrafallopian transfer. Transfer of zygote or early embryos up to the 8 blastomere into the fallopian tube. As known to you that we done IVF, in vitro fertilization, that we done outside the body. As the after fertilization zygote start to develop, and as the zygote get attended the 8 blastomere stage, then at this stage we have to be transfer it to the fallopian tube. This is the fallopian tube. You see that this is the fallopian tube. So this condition, actually this is known as zygote intrafallopian transfer. Intrauterine transfer. transfer of embryo with more than 8 blastomere into the uterus. First, we transfer it here in the fallopian tube. It is known as ZIFT, zygote intrafallopian transfer. If it not possible or the condition of female is somewhat different, and then we can the transfer more than 8 blastomere, the cystine blastomere or this such condition, we can directly transfer to the uterus. This is the uterus. Here we can transfer. This is the uterus. So this is known as IUT, intrauterine transfer. See that. In vivo. What is this in vivo? In vivo means inside the body. Here we are saying that in vitro fertilization, outside the body. And here the in vivo. In vivo means inside the body. Fertilization taking place inside the body. Embryos formed by in vivo fertilization also could be used for such transfer to assist those female who cannot conceive. See that again I am reading or I am telling the sentence, you have to understand well. Embryos formed by in vivo. In vivo means inside the female body also could be used for such transfer to assist those female who cannot conceive. Conceive means those who not conceive the pregnancy. Maybe the female is capable to develop the egg and natural fertilization takes place. But maybe the uterus is not be capable for the implantation. Then what we can do that? We can take out this zygote from there and the zygote get now be transplant to the uterus of another female for the case that it is written here. I hope that you understood. Gamete intrafallopian transfer. What is this gamete intrafallopian transfer? The transferring of gamete in the fallopian tube. Transfer of an ovum from a donor into the fallopian tube of another female who cannot produce ovum but can provide suitable environment for fertilization and development. You see that we can adopt this method for such females whose uterus is well. This uterus is now well able to carry the pregnancy. It can be allow the implantation. Okay. So what we have to be do? Maybe suppose that ovary is not developing suitable or proper gamete, then what we have to? We can take out the gamete from another female, and these gamete we have to be implant here in this fallopian tube. So this is known as gamete intrafallopian transfer. As you are seeing here, we can transfer here both male and female gamete. If need, we can transfer the sperm also for the fertilization. If don't require, then we can transfer only the female gamete. So as we will transfer the male or female gamete here, if we only transfer the female gamete, then it will naturally get fertilized, and after the fertilization the uterus is already in good condition, so it is capable to implant the developing embryo. Okay, but if need, then we can transfer both the gamete, both sperm and ova, in the fallopian tube, and naturally they will fertilized, and after the fertilization implantation will take place in uterus. Now one more method, intracytoplasmic sperm injection, ICSI. What is ICSI? A laboratory procedure in which a single sperm from the male donor or partner get injected into an egg. The egg we will collect from a female donor or partner. Then the fertilized egg is implanted into the woman uterus. The processes get now be used for them where the natural fertilization is not possible in the female body due to several complexes. So that's why what we have to be do here, just you see in the figure, we have taken this egg cell. This is a egg cell, as you seeing here, it is labeled here. Okay, egg cell and this is a sperm. Okay, then sperm we get now be introduced here in egg. Okay, this is known as intracytoplasmic sperm injection. It means this is the direct injection of sperm into the cytoplasm of egg. So that's why it named ICSI. As the sperm get injected, then this will develop into a zygote, and as it will attain the suitable stage, then this zygote or this developing blastocyst get now be transferred to the uterus of suitable female. Okay. Now then, one more thing, artificial insemination. What is this actually? The semen get collected from the husband or a healthy donor, is artificially introduced into the vagina or the uterus. If it is get now be introduced in uterus, it is known as intrauterine insemination. We are using some instrument for the purpose. So this is known as artificial insemination. It means by the artificial mean we inseminating a female. Okay, this is a technique is useful for the male partner having inability to inseminate female or low sperm count. This is a suitable method technique, which is if the male is having the low sperm count or having the inability to inseminate the female, so for that we can use this artificial insemination method. Now surrogacy. What is this surrogacy? Surrogacy means that a woman bears a child for a couple unable to produce children because the wife is infertile or unable to carry the pregnancy. Unable to carry means ultimate giving the sufficient sense. But if you are not understanding why unable to carry, then unable to carry means unable to carry the pregnancy. It is for those female who are unable to conceive the pregnancy. It means uterus is not be susceptible, if not as in the condition, then it can be carry the pregnancy. So for the such kind of female, they can adopt the surrogacy. Surrogacy simply we can say that the to use a female or to use the uterus of another female for the purpose, and after the childbirth the child get now be hand over to the original parent. So that female which will do all these things, the female is known as a surrogate mother. The surrogate is impregnated either through the artificial insemination or through the implantation of an embryo produced by in vitro fertilization. There are two means to make the surrogate mother pregnant. First is given that artificial insemination, that already we discussed in the previous section. We can take the sperm from the male partner and artificially we get now we inseminate the surrogate female. Okay, or we can implant the embryo produced in vitro, or we can take the male and female gamete from the original parent and then we can do the in vitro fertilization as the zygote and further development get started. Then that developing zygote get introduced here in the uterus of surrogate mother. Okay. What are the problems of ART? As we got a very good information, as ART is a very good, uh, different techniques are there, which now be very much helpful for the different mean for a couple, that those who are seeing towards a child. But naturally, it is not possible. Then they can be develop the such child. So by these use of these tools and techniques, we can be overcome infertility. So ART is undoubtedly a very good technique, but what are the main problems? Actually, the main problem is that it requires high precious handling by the specialized professionals and expensive instrumentation. It's the main drawback of the technique. It is it can be handled by only a very specialized person. It cannot be handled by anyone. We need a special kind of instrument. The expenses are very high. Therefore, these facilities are available only in very few centers. So that why due to all these reasons, actually, the handling is not as easy. We need the specialized professional person, and we need the special type of instrument, special type of surrounding and techniques. So these techniques are very expensive. So all these are not be easily available everywhere. So they are available only in a very few centers. So that this is the main problem of ART. As the data is also being showing the rate of infertility among the male and female is also being increasing due to the lifestyle and some other food adulteration. So we have to be develop this ART in such a way then it can be easily available for some other person or easily available for everyone those who require it. Emotional, religious, and social problems. Sometimes that there are some emotional or religious or the social issues are there, so that's why the people or the couple they are not going towards the ART. So as we seeing that already we have seen here that the different aspect of the infertility and how we can treat it with the ART. But it's still that the legal adaptation is one of the best method for the couple, those who are looking for the parenthood. With the help of ART, they can attend the parenthood. There's no doubt if the things are be not as very much complex. There's some more complexities in the reproductive tract where the ART is also not be very much helpful for the person, but simply it is very helpful for the person those who are seeing toward the parenthood and facing the some infertility problems. But the legal adaptation is a very good method, very good this can say a condition, legal adaptation. So they can adopt a child legally and they can enjoy the parenthood. I hope that you enjoyed this, and if you're not understanding anything or anything more you want to with them, so you write in the comment box. Thanks to join us. I hope that